Live with studios in Midland and Odessa, you're watching CBS7 First Alert News at 9 on the CW West Texas.
I won't listen. I'll still pull it up and see where they're going.
That was Johan Ramos, a now retired Odessa firefighter. Coming up in just a few minutes, CBS7's Jensen Young takes us through his 25 years of service. Thanks for joining us for CBS7 News on the CW, and thanks for joining us live on the CBS7 YouTube. Almost 2 years ago, we brought you coverage of an accident involving the University of the Southwest golf team, where 9 people died. Last night, we obtained the final report from the National Transportation Safety Board, stating that the driver of the pickup that caused the accident had meth in his system. CBS7's Tyler Poglich brings us an in-depth look at that report.
On March 15th, 2022, just after 8 p.m., this was the scene of the crash on FM 1788 that involved the men and women's golf team for the University of the Southwest. Last month, the National Transportation Safety Board released their final report regarding the van crash involving the University of the Southwest after almost 2 years of investigations. In their report, the NTSB concluded the accident was caused by the driver's excessive speed and his use of methamphetamine. Previous reports said that a 13-year-old son of the truck driver was behind the wheel and that a tire blowout on the truck caused the accident. James Hatta, who represents the Sanchez family in the case of Sanchez versus the University of the Southwest, still believes the cause of the accident was caused by that blowout.
As a matter of fact, the cause of the wreck was clearly a tire blowout or a tire event of some type on the truck. And the methamphetamines were in the blood system, but then legally the question becomes, did that impair the driver?
A post-mortem analysis of the pickup truck driver's blood showed that he had used methamphetamine identified at 1,900 nanograms per millimeter, which is almost 100 times the typical levels seen with medicinal use. Also in that report, they released the driver's history of road violations, where the report said, quote, "The pickup truck driver had 23 traffic violations, 10 of which related to driving without a license or with a suspended license, and 9 of which were for speeding. One of the speeding violations from 2016 involved traveling 105 miles per hour in a 75 mile per hour zone. The pickup truck driver had 1 driving while intoxicated violation that occurred in 2006. His most recent license suspension occurred in May of 2018. The license remained suspended until May of 2019. The driver was involved in 1 other crash, which occurred back in 2012. The accident occurred on a 1-lane highway at 8 p.m. in March. In the report, NTSB did an examination of a 10-year crash history from 2012 to 2022, within a 5-mile radius of the crash location. That study showed there were 31 crashes, 1 of which was fatal. 9 of those crashes involved a vehicle crossing the center line, and 1 involved unsafe speed in inclement weather conditions. Because of the accident and all of the details coming out, the Sanchez family is suing the University of the Southwest for the wrongful death of their son, Mauricio Sanchez. They're hoping a transport policy change will be made so that accidents like the one 2 years ago don't happen again.
There was another route that this van could have traveled on a better road, a divided highway that would have it would have been 10, 15 more minutes in the travel time that they should have taken, and they didn't.
The Sanchez family is set to appear in court in the near future. We will, of course, keep you updated when that happens. Reporting for CBS7 First Alert News, I'm Tyler Poglich.
We're tracking crime now. Midland police are investigating a homicide. Last night around 9 o'clock, MPD and the Midland Fire Department responded to the Palladium Apartments in the 2300 block of Lamesa Road. When they arrived, officers found 26-year-old Adarius Reed dead on the ground in the apartment parking lot with a gunshot wound. No arrests have been made at this time, and the investigation is ongoing. And the city of Big Spring says water service will be shut off for customers that are in the area of Parkway and Wasson Road, so utility crews can perform water line repairs. Customers in the area will have low to no water pressure until the repair is complete. The city did not say how long it would take, but repairs began at 4 o'clock. And we're going to talk your weather forecast now with meteorologist Sawyer McElroy. Sawyer, what are we looking at as we head into the weekend?
Well, it's a little bit chilly out there tonight, and we're looking to see those chilly temperatures continuing over the next couple of days as well. Looking at our current temperatures across the state, teens, 20s, 30s, 40s, and 50s out there. Look, closer to home, we're seeing those temperatures in the 20s, 30s, and even some 40s as you get closer to the border. Currently 30 in Midland and Odessa, down to 29 in Alpine at the present time. Winds overall not too bad, anywhere from being calm to about 5-10 miles per hour. So nice light breeze out there, but even with that light breeze, we're seeing wind chills down to the teens already in Lamesa, Snyder. Big Spring is at 20 with that wind chill temperature, and definitely going to see those wind chills dropping as we head through the overnight. Satellite and radar, you can see those clouds off to the west. Those will push to the east as we head through the overnight. As we look at tonight, going to be cold out there. Temperatures, like I said, continuing to drop into the 20s and even some teens for some. Looking at our weekend, going to remain chilly with highs only in the 40s for Saturday and Sunday.
Today, one Odessan retired after 25 years as a firefighter with Odessa Fire Rescue. The fire department held a celebration for him. CBS7's Jensen Young was there. He joins us with the firefighter's story. Jensen.
Johan Ramos started with the Odessa Fire Department at the age of 25. Now 50, he gets the chance to look back on his years saving lives. July 6, 1998 was Johan Ramos' first day as a firefighter and paramedic with the Odessa Fire Department, and he remembers being thrown in with the wolves. After 2.5 decades on the job, he's happy that he was able to help so many people through his work.
It's such a great feeling to have the training, to be able to go in there and help one of their family members out or them, and just the satisfaction you get of being able to use your training to help somebody is very rewarding.
He was described by Fire Chief Jason Cotton as a calming presence around the station and on the scene. Cotton told the story of a time when Ramos was the person they turned to help calm a family who was in distress because of a fire at their home. That's something he lived by throughout his 25 years and will continue to honor after his retirement.
Hearing that now, I never realized it at the time. It was just something I just automatically went in and did. You know, I'm able to help people out and kind of get on their level and try to figure out, let's try to see what's going on, and we're going to work through this, and we're going to get through this together.
While Ramos is leaving his role as a firefighter and paramedic, he's not leaving the fire department.
Once a firefighter.
Starting at 8 a.m. on Monday, he will be starting a new position as office specialist and supply clerk, allowing him to work with even more fire stations each day.
He can go refill air packs for us and bring them to the scene. He can block traffic because he's in a fire department vehicle with lights on it. He can do stuff like that, but he can't be actually firefighting anymore.
He will keep his status as a paramedic and can put those skills to use if needed. Johan says what he will miss most is fighting the actual fires. Luckily for him, he'll get to stick around the station and his co-workers with his new job. Johan, congratulations and thank you for your continued service to Odessa. For CBS7 First Alert News, I'm Jensen Young.
Thank you, Jensen. In your education news, Midland College has formed a new partnership with UTVB to restructure their early childhood care program. 3 years ago, Midland College announced the Early Childhood Education Program. Now, the school is aiming to transform the way that they recruit and retain students. Starting this semester, the Early Child Education Program will now be distributing recruitment resources at UTPB.
Primary goal is to increase the pipeline working with MISD, increase the number of completers of an associate's degree at the college by significant numbers, and then increase the number of students transferring to UTPB and completing their certification. You know, we have a critical teacher shortage in our region.
All of the faculty and staff members who are currently in the program will stay enrolled. And have you ever struggled to keep your plants alive? Well, now, thanks to a program hosted by the West Texas Food Bank, you can grow into the gardener you've always wanted to be. Every third Saturday of the month, the Midland West Texas Food Bank will hold workshops for any aspiring green thumbs. The topic tomorrow will be tips on seed germination. The health of a plant starts with the plant, and the plant starts with the soil. Tomorrow is the first meeting, so naturally the first topic is how to start your own garden. But future workshops will provide advice on maintaining your plants from the people who are the experts on the soil.
My tried and true thing to go to is relying on people that are in the area and that have been gardening for many years. You don't want to try to start with a variety that you don't even know is proven to grow in a certain region. And so asking your friends and your fellow gardeners what varieties they plant, I think is a really good way to lead to a successful garden.
The workshop will be held from 10 to noon tomorrow, the West Texas Food Bank in Midland. And mark your calendars because the Texas Tech Red Raiders are coming to Midland. Texas Tech football announced it will play its annual spring game in the Tall City on April 20th. You're seeing some of our old video from when the Red Raiders came to Midland from 2013 to 2019. Coach Joey McGuire said the Permian Basin is important for recruiting, but also because it has one of the biggest and most supportive alumni bases for Texas Tech. Kickoff will be at 1 o'clock on a Saturday. More information will be released as we get closer to game day. Texas authorities arrested 10 migrants this morning in the Shelby Park area of Eagle Pass. The area is near the U.S.-Mexico border and was taken over by the state last week. Video shows the migrants on top of cargo container barriers installed by Texas on the banks of the Rio Grande. The state started arresting migrants in the area on Wednesday. Families and children are handed over to U.S. Border Patrol, while single adult migrants are arrested and charged with criminal trespassing. Then they're handed over to U.S. Border Patrol after dealing with the state charges. And speaking of migrants, apprehensions on the U.S. southern border have increased to around 4,000 a day. That's according to a law enforcement source familiar with the operations. This week's number marks an increase from earlier this month when there were roughly 3,000 apprehensions per day. However, it is still far less than the 10,000 daily migrant encounters that was observed at one point last month. The Department of Homeland Security attributes the overall decline to enhanced enforcement on the Mexican side of the border. However, multiple sources say that migration fluctuates and could increase at any time. And yesterday, members of the United States National Guard were seen installing more wire to prevent migrants from entering the U.S.-Mexico border in Eagle Pass. The wire fencing on private property along the border, with thousands of migrants flown or bused to different states. And a recently passed law authorizing state officials to arrest, prosecute, and deport people who cross the border illegally. They've spawned court battles between Texas and the Biden administration and civil rights groups. You're looking now at today's top headlines. They're shown here in real time with real viewers on CBS7.com. You can see all these stories and more by downloading our app or visiting our website. Just go to CBS7.com. And still ahead, gas prices in the United States continue to remain steady despite the bitter cold and unstable trade routes. I'll have your latest oil and gas news in just a couple of minutes. In your oil and gas news, despite flaring tensions and disrupted trade routes in the Middle East and historic winter weather here at home, gas prices in the U.S. continue to hold steady, at least for now. Well, in a winter and international tensions hit the oil markets and your wallets. Mike Valerio breaks it down.
Historic cold and deadly winter weather taking a toll on oil production in the U.S.
There can be unexpected outages caused by the freezing temperatures. There can be power losses. Pipelines that deliver natural gas to refineries can freeze. And so we have seen several major refineries in Texas shut down because of the extremely cold weather.
In the Middle East, critical shipping lanes disrupted by attacks on vessels by Iran-backed Houthi militants from Yemen in retaliation, they say, for the war in Gaza.
And what's happening in the Red Sea with the Houthi militants has driven up oil prices. As many vessels have been avoiding the Red Sea, that's driving up transit time.
Yet, despite these cascading crises, gas prices across America are holding relatively steady in the low $3 range for a gallon, according to AAA.
It stands at $3.09 a gallon. That price still considerably lower, about 29 cents lower than what we were paying last year.
Gas Buddy's Patrick DeHaan says overall global demand for oil is down, and a dramatic shift to above average temperatures in the U.S. next week could counter any impact of recent refinery shutdowns, keeping prices steady.
But some pain at the pump may be in the forecast as winter starts to loosen its grip next month. The national average will begin its seasonal rise, and escalating tensions overseas may finally hit wallets here at home.
If oil production eventually is impacted, then these geopolitical tensions certainly could be more impactful in the weeks and months ahead.
In Los Angeles, I'm Mike Valerio.
Well, it was a bit of a chilly one out there today for our Friday, and we're going to see those chilly conditions sticking around for the weekend. But the good news is near normal temperatures return next week. I'll have all the details on that coming up in just a few minutes.
Now, from the CBS7 First Alert Weather Center, here's meteorologist Sawyer McElroy.
Happy Friday, everybody. Hope you all have stayed warm because it's been a little bit chilly out there today. Looking at observed highs across the state, anywhere from the 30s to the 60s across the state. Closer to home, we saw those highs into the 40s, 50s, and 60s. Even in Midland and Odessa, we saw those highs into the 40s and 50s, but that is because we hit our high temperature actually very early this morning at around the 1 o'clock hour, then saw those temperatures declining and a slight increase as we headed throughout the day. 24-hour temperature change, currently 22 degrees cooler in Midland than it was at this time yesterday, 28 degrees cooler than it was at this time currently here in Odessa. Current temperatures across the region, 20s, 30s and 40s out there, 28 in Big Spring, 30 in Midland and Odessa, 46 still in Presidio. We did have some breezy conditions to start off the day with wind gusts up to about 35, 40 miles per hour, but the good news is we are seeing improvement in those winds, anywhere from being calm to about 5-10 miles per hour at the present time. Current wind chills, cold out there for some, in the teens for Lamesa, Snyder at the present time at 20 in Big Spring, so we are starting to see those temperatures dipping down. Looking at satellite and radar, we see those clouds off to our west slowly pushing east, and we're going to see those continuing to build through the overnight hours into our early morning hours of our Saturday. And Saturday we're looking at that cloud cover sticking around as well, so a little bit more cloud cover than we have been seeing the past couple of days, but quiet conditions continuing for our Saturday. Forecasted wind chills throughout the early morning hours of Saturday, single digits, teens, and 20s for everybody across West Texas, Southeast New Mexico. So definitely want to bundle up if you are out and about early in the day. And even as we hit that 1 o'clock hour, still looking to see 30s across the region for those wind chills. So going to be a cool one once again for our Saturday. Highs in the 30s, 40s, and 50s once again. High of 40 in Midland and Odessa. Like I said, a little bit more cloud cover than we have been seeing. For our CBS7 First Alert exclusive 10-day forecast, Sunday is going to be chilly as well, with highs in the 40s once again. But the good news is by Monday, temperatures back into the 60s, 50s and 60s throughout the new week, and some much needed moisture returning to the region starting on Tuesday and really continuing through the majority of the new week. But at least those temperatures will be right where they should be for this time of year.
Still ahead, a private mission that blasted off from Cape Canaveral earlier this year made a fiery return to Earth. We have the details next on CBS 7 News at 9. A U.S. private spacecraft that blasted off from Cape Canaveral last week, hoping for a historic lunar touchdown, has failed. Peregrine 1 was captured firing its thrusters shortly before burning up in the Earth's atmosphere over a remote stretch of the South Pacific Ocean yesterday. Astrobotics, the company behind the robotic lander, says the spacecraft developed a fuel propellant leak, forcing the company to scrap its mission to land on the surface of the moon.
The leak that had occurred had done two things. One is it had veered us a little off course. You could think about it as like a left or right off course. but it had also slowed down our trajectory to indicate that if we did nothing from that point forward, that we were very likely to return back to Earth.
Peregrine 1 was carrying a payload that included human remains and DNA of more than 70 deceased people, as well as some NASA experiments. The mission would have been the first U.S. lunar landing in over 50 years. Still ahead, a Marfa ISD resource officer joined in on some recess fun. We take a look at the video plus a final look at your weather forecast next on CBS 7 News at 9. All right, before we go, take a look at this. That is Officer Martinez. He's a Marfa ISD resource officer who was caught on video joining in on some recess fun. In a Facebook post by the Marfa Shorthorns, they say that Officer Martinez keeps students happy, healthy, and safe. Looks like they're having a lot of fun out there.
Yeah.
On the playground.
Hopefully that was filmed yesterday when it was a little bit
warmer, springer temperatures.
A little bit chilly out there today, but that's definitely super fun.
Such a cute video.
It looks like they're playing.
Oh yeah, he's
tag,
like learning.
Maybe.
Oh, he's playing. That's awesome.
I love
that.
I
think they're playing tag.
I think
he's winning. Unless he's the person who's it, then they're running a lot faster than him.
Maybe. I don't know.
He's got to carry all that gear though, so I guess it's okay. But you're right. Hopefully it was shot yesterday because today it probably would have been just a little too cold to be playing some tag.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, maybe that was a good idea to play tag to stay warm.
Oh yeah, run around, stay warm.
But yeah, definitely chilly out there today. Chilly for this weekend as well. So definitely want to bundle up if you are doing any errands or hanging out outside this weekend. But the good news is temperatures back in the 50s and 60s next week, and even some rain in the forecast. However, not looking at a washout, just some nice showers that we so desperately need because 2023 was very dry for the year as a whole. So hopefully 2024 is going to get a little bit of a better start there.
All right, I hope so too. I can use some more water on my plants. Thanks for watching CBS 7 News at 9 on the CW. We've got more news coming up tonight on CBS 7 News at 10.